Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Powerful Potential and Purpose. We are a publishing company, that's right, and we are creating best-selling authors. So if you want to be an author, well, then get in touch with me after we do our authors interview. We help heart-centered entrepreneurs and spiritual leaders and anybody who has a message to impact the world in a positive way become a best-selling author. And tonight, I actually have a very special guest. We are releasing a new book very soon called The Path of Awakening, and we're starting our authors series. So get ready to learn about our guest tonight and what she's writing about, the empath's journey, okay, and what it means to be an empath and all these wonderful things. So I'm going to take a moment and bring her on, and you're going to get to meet our special guest tonight. So
Hi,
Jen
everybody.
Cairo is here. She's an intuitive empath, a Reiki master, and a medium. And we've been having some fun the last few months working on her story. So Jen, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me, Gloria. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited about the book coming out.
I'm excited too. And being an empath myself, okay, natural born empath, I love the fact that you wrote about the empath's journey.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, so that our audience gets to know what an empath is and how Jen actually realized that she was an empath, right? So, Jen, before we get started, we got somebody that came on. Oh, we got Deborah on. Hi, honey.
Hi,
Thank
Deb.
you. That's one of your mentors. That's beautiful.
My mentor, yes.
Yep. So the book that Jen is in is called Path of Awakening, A Healing Journey, and her story is called An Empath's Journey. So Jen, I want to know when did you actually begin to learn what it was to be an empath? I mean, you felt different. I know you talk about that in your
Mm-hmm.
book. How did you feel different?
I was always so much more sensitive than other children, going back to my early childhood. But I was internally sensitive. I felt things so deeply. I felt other people's emotions. Um, I could tell people's emotions, before they even spoke. And I knew that other people, weren't like me, but I didn't know where to put that. So I just
Mm,
accepted it as part of my life. Um, but it was interesting and it helped me. It helped me get a read on people even at a young age. I could
mm.
sense, whether a person was a good person or a bad person. But I just never knew what to do with it until 5 years ago when I started delving into this spiritual world that I'm into now. Um, but I can remember early on as kindergarten, just feeling so deeply, the emotions, but internalizing everything at the same time, which is typical
Mm-hmm.
for an empath. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, looking back, there's so many experiences that I had as a child, um, that, made me what I am. And,
Can you give an example of one? Because I know being an empath as a child, people would always say, "Oh gosh, you're so sensitive," like it was something wrong or bad, and I was weird. And so, what are some of the things that happened for you as a child that kind of made you feel different?
well, first of all, I was painfully shy. Most kids would, I was so happy being by myself, and most kids want to go out and play with other kids. And I had friends and I did go play, but I was quite content being with myself and in my own space. And I think, people just said, oh, she's shy, she's quiet, or she's standoffish. As I got older and young teens, people thought I was standoffish or stuck up. But, truth be told, I just preferred to be in my own space. And I see that now. I see that that's what I am. And I still to this day, and I'm sure you do too, you need your time. You need your quiet time, your recharge time. And that was what's happening to me back then. And I didn't know it. I just thought I was odd or quirky or, you know, too shy to be around people. But I was an empath. And,
So how would you describe an empath to somebody that feels different, kind of knows
mhm.
they tune in deeply, and maybe they get to see this video and they're like, "Oh my God, that sounds like me," but what's an empath? How would you describe it?
Well, an empath is somebody that feels. deeply. They can feel other people's emotions. They can sense. You can walk into the room and you can feel the energy of a room. You can feel tension or you can feel sadness. Um, and you too are also very sensitive. Like you can get your feelings hurt easily. I know I do. You know, um, you feel rejected easily. And also people come to you a lot because you are that kind of person that people want to talk to. You have that vibe about you that people want to confide in you and tell you their problems, which is great. I love to be that person, but it can be mentally and physically exhausting sometimes, as you know. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so
So for those people that have these kind of feelings, like you said, they're taking
Mhm.
in people's emotions, they're taking in sometimes people's symptoms. It's like you can
Oh
get a headache
yeah.
out of nowhere and you don't even know why. What are some of the things as an empath that you do to protect yourself, or as they say, clear yourself so you're not taking other people's feelings on so deeply?
Well, boundaries. It's okay to tell people you can't, be there today, or you can't go there, you can't listen today. It's okay to say no. And, also, having that quiet time, scheduling if you have to, that quiet time for yourself, to meditate. Meditation has been a savior for me. Just putting on even a YouTube 2-minute meditation before bed, burning sage, just the aromas and the scents, scent really helps me.
Mhm.
The essential oils or the sage, that really takes me to a place, or going to sit out at nature,
Yeah.
anywhere, at a park, especially the ocean for me, as I talked about before, that's just so grounding and it brings me such peace. So, and that's self-care, so I think
Mhm.
self-care is the most important thing you can do for yourself as an empath.
Yeah. So, how can your experience from childhood help someone now that has similar issues? Like, how would you guide them? Because I know you had guidance, you got help.
I got help as an adult, yes. I think as
Yeah.
children, a lot of times, adults, like my, 2 of the 3 of my children are very, empathic children. So now that I went through those experiences, I can now recognize and help them with their self-care. So I think, talking and communicating with like-minded people and reading and doing the research, you know, I wish I had known, as a child, other people like me. But, back then it wasn't even spoken about, you know.
If I remember correctly in your story, you talk about once you became a parent. What did
Yes.
that do? Like when you all of a sudden were a parent and then you had to deal with all of this?
Well, I still at that point didn't know what to do with it all. I just knew that I was more sensitive and more emotional and more reactive to things. And, that brought a lot of years of difficulty in some ways. It brought anxiety, and I didn't know where it was all coming from. And I was a good mother. I'm a good mother and my kids are good kids, but it added that extra layer of, you know, a little bit of stress, because I'm feeling now, when they were sad from something, or um, I felt it. I felt it just as deeply as they did. If they were getting bullied, my daughter was bullied, I felt that so deeply for her. And, I wish I would have known, now how I would have coped with that. I would have
Like
both.
Tina says too, she says, I wonder how much easier life would have been growing up if someone had helped her as well. I think,
Absolutely.
and you were talking earlier with me before you came on about some of the things you see in the future for yourself, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that
Yes.
actually, I believe, kind of led you on this path. Don't you think
I
so?
believe. Yes, absolutely. Yep. It all falls into place. There's no accidents. Yep.
It all falls into place. So when you started writing, what was it like to have that experience? Did you ever imagine, first of all, that you would become an author?
Well, it's, my mother, as I told you before, she did a lot of writing in, high school and college. She was, very gifted. And, I knew that, but it was never something I thought I would do. And then, this, kind of fell on my lap. And, you know, I, I felt confident writing about it because it's my story. And,
Hmm.
it was very cleansing and healing to do so. I learned a lot about myself in this experience. And it made me want more, as we'll talk about. But it's just been a very healing exciting adventure for me. So I'm so happy to have this opportunity.
Oh, I'm glad that you told your story and that it's going to go out there to gosh knows how many people. I know you already have some
Yes.
book signings that you're planning and all, so you
Hmm.
teach people, I understand, which I
Yes.
think is wonderful. But you also gave me a little insight about what the future holds for children, and I think that's important. How about you tell our audience how this evolved now, like you said, this experience to want to do
Hmm.
something greater? What does that look like for you?
Well, I work with children, um, and I really think since meditation has benefited me so much, and children these days experience so many stresses, the work, the schedules, family, potential family issues, and I just think that children could benefit so much through meditation. So I've had these ideas about a children's book incorporating meditation, and a story about children and a child that teaches another child his culture about meditating. And I really think that this could help children and let them know it's okay to have these mindful moments and to find your inner self. I don't, I think, the noise of the world in itself can cause so much anxiety, and you add the workload and the schedules, and you know it's overwhelming for a child. And I
Especially in this day and age. I mean, look at
yeah,
all that's happening right now, in this particular time with, COVID-19 and kids having to be taken out of school systems and away from their friends and,
yes,
many more emotions and tools like that you're talking about for these kids of different age brackets, I feel is so needed, not only for them, but for
yes.
their parents to have something as well. Don't you think so?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. And with all the anxiety and, people just want to medicate, medicate, medicate. And I think parents would love to learn how to incorporate meditation into a daily life. And, not only helping them, but helping their children. And, it would benefit the whole family. So I just think
Mhm.
it's something that I feel I need to share, and I need to write a story about it. And I've
Oh,
already
I
started
think it's
working on
great.
it. Yes.
I think that's
So,
great. I love
mhm,
working with authors that then see something next that they're going to leap off of.
mhm. Yes.
It's so exciting, and I really do believe that these types of children's books are needed. I know in the empath community, there's always parents asking these types of questions. What do you do to balance your own child? How do you get
Right.
them to understand their levels of sensitivity? Because a
Yes.
lot of parents, like myself, like you, and others that are listening tonight, we didn't have that help. Like Tina was saying, imagine if we did. Okay.
Yeah. It would
So
be
if you put these books out there and you've got the age bracket somewhere between 7 and 10, let's say,
mhm.
already exposed to these concepts, gosh, imagine if we had gotten exposed to it at
Oh, I
17.
know. And even, hitting on the empathic side, the children that are really sensitive and don't know how to express that. I want to do something with that. I want to help with that. And I want to give them something to read and pictures to go along with it that they can associate with. And I think that could really benefit a lot of children and parents.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Jean Dansick, who's also
Thanks,
one of
Jane.
our authors,
Yes.
who's coming
Yeah.
on soon to be interviewed. She has a great story as well. She says so great to offer meditation to kids. She also has tools, coping tools that she's going to be sharing on her interview real soon. So this is exciting. This is exciting. How do your own kids feel about all this?
My kids are grown. I mean, my youngest is 17 and they're all so proud. They are very supportive. And my youngest, the 17-year-old, is the most like me. So he's my little empath. And they're fascinated with what I'm doing and they're very proud. And, I'm happy
Aw.
that I'm doing something to make them so proud. So, no, they're very excited for me. Yeah.
Now, Jen, you call yourself an intuitive empath, a Reiki master, and a medium.
Hmm.
Did you ever think when you were a kid that you would be doing all these cool things?
Never. No, it's so funny. And even, you know, up until 10 years ago, when people say they were getting their cards read or something, I'd be like, oh, that's so hokey. I never, I always had that filter over me, like I wouldn't allow myself to go there. you know and maybe I wasn't ready, and I think that's what it was. I wasn't ready to accept all that. And now I open these doors with the help of my mentor, Deb, who's here. I learned that I have these gifts and I'm meant to share them. And that's what I'm meant to do. Um, and I embrace and learn new things. And I've met so many wonderful people on this journey. And I'm just thankful for each and every one of them.
Mhm. It's interesting, and I know myself and several people watching and other people that I know in our community, a lot of us, because of our upbringing, a lot of these things we got involved in later on, it was like, ooh, woo woo, but
Yes.
it's our gifts, it's our birthright that,
Mhm.
taken away from us in some sense because of different indoctrinations that happened over the decades and centuries. And now the people in the healing arts, the intuitives, the empaths, we're stepping up, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And there's no shame in our game. It used to be almost embarrassing, to speak of this stuff. People would be
Yes,
like you said, the woo woo. But now, people are hungry for it. People want to find that side of them and they want to learn too. And the more you speak about it, the more you realize that there's more like us out there that are just,
totally.
they
Totally.
were afraid to talk.
Yeah, and what I find in maybe you can tell us a little bit too, the more that people are encouraged to use their intuition, the more they begin to realize that they have greater gifts that start to expand and they take more risk if they have the right guidance too. And then all of
Exactly.
a sudden their purpose in life is starting to change.
Well, everybody is born psychic. Everybody is
Mhm.
born that. It's how you train that muscle. And, and by research and learning and reading and practicing and meditating and finding more out about yourself is a great way to expand on that. And,
Mhm.
people don't want to hear that. People that aren't ready to hear that. Oh, I'm not psychic. I'm not, but everybody is born psychic and everybody has abilities, but it's whether or not you ever allow yourself that chance to
Absolutely.
learn. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Tina is on here. Tina is also one of our authors from a previous book, Women Standing Strong. And as you know, Jen, she came into her gifts with angel communication and her intuition later on in life too. And like she said earlier, what if we knew? So Jen,
Hmm.
okay, so the book is going to be releasing in May, early May. And for those of you that are listening, it's called Path of Awakening, a Healing Journey. And her story is the empath's journey. And you'll see it announced if you're on social media, of course, and Jen's going to be sharing, information with that too. But Jen, where do you see yourself offering your gifts to people from this point on? Because I know you do some readings. Let's talk about that. You do some readings. What kind of readings do you do?
Well, I do angel cards, and I love doing that. I love giving messages through the cards. I'm a Reiki master and I love the healing arts. Um, and all of that is using your gift. And it all kind of ties together, because sometimes you get messages while giving Reiki. Sometimes you feel spirit around and you give a message then. Sometimes when you're doing the cards, you give a message, so I kind of, you know, I've got my foot into everything here. I've got the cards and the empath and I do platform shows with the mediumship, the healing arts, the Reiki, and now I'm incorporating the crystals in the Reiki. Um, and it all ties together. And being an empath helps all of those gifts.
So I have a question. You're doing all this stuff that is not always easy for some people to accept. And maybe they hear about this through someplace you're speaking. Maybe they hear about it through
Mhm.
this video. I'm sure that you've had some negative reactions or kind of like, oh gosh, no, I know I have in life. I'm sure some of the people watching tonight can attest it. What do you do? How do you handle that when someone just kind of like, oh gosh, no, and they maybe could even call you a witch?
Um, well, my friends, like I didn't speak about a lot of this and just to my dear friends, but now I'm coming out of the spiritual closet, and this
Yes,
book
you
is
are,
helping me with
girlfriend.
that. I'm coming out of the spiritual closet, and I'm finding that most people are very accepting and they want to know more.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, you get the skeptics. Like sometimes at shows when we've done like platform shows, you get the people, no, no, no. But they're the people that are just the negative people. So I am lucky. I have not really had, somebody say, "Oh, we can't talk anymore. I don't want anything to do with you." No, I have had very kind people in my world and have been very
Beautiful.
welcoming, and they
Yeah.
want to learn more and they want to
And
be a
I
part
and
of
I
things.
think we have more of a consciousness awakening society in the last, I would say, 5 years, really
Mhm.
waking up. Because when I started, and probably Deborah, who's on here, you're one of your mentors, when I started doing this stuff 30 years ago, people kind of really thought you were like a little weird, or you were doing
Yeah.
drugs, you were just too far
Yeah.
removed. But I have seen it become more acceptable. I have seen it with people that are starting to talk more about purpose in life and wondering what else to do, where when I was talking soul purpose, 15, 20 years ago, they're like, what are you talking about? So I
Yeah.
think you're in a really good time. All of us are in a really good time because people want to be able to empower themselves. Don't you think so? They
Yeah.
want it. And
Yeah.
in order to do that, you have to trust your intuition.
Mhm. Yeah, and they're curious about it because let's face it, it's very interesting. So people are curious and they wanna hear what you have to say. And, I'm not this, crazy looking person. I'm a normal looking person. So, when I'm speaking about something, people are like, "Oh, she's relatable." She's a
Yeah.
mom, she's relatable. And, I think that makes me people want to learn and trust me because I am a relatable person and I'm not going to steer anybody into something that makes them uncomfortable.
So you do readings, you do Reiki, which is a hands-on healing. You do mediumship, which is communication with spirit for people who their loved ones have passed on. You're an author real soon. You're going to be a best-selling author. You're already thinking about writing more books. Tell me something else. Stretch yourself. What else do you see out there in the future for yourself that you haven't done yet?
The teaching, I love to teach,
Uh,
and I have a partner, Gabe, that as well, and we're putting together syllabuses for some chakra balancing classes and teaching Reiki. I want to bring that. I want to bring the teaching in with everything now. I want to teach Reiki 1 and 2 and master. I want to teach the chakra balancing.
good.
We've held Reiki shares and spiritual circles. I love that. I want to bring people together and I want to teach.
And the
Um,
chakras is great, with the things you're doing for kids. It's really great for kids because one of the things when you see little kids spinning around, think about the whirling dervish out there too. They are
yeah.
actually moving their energy centers, which are your chakras. They are bringing them into balance. And kids
Mhm.
love that kind of stuff. They also like to play with colors. And Jen, I actually purchased because I had an idea a while back with Candy, who's my partner, about creating some of these online types of things for kids. And I
Yeah.
found a company that actually has trainings like that with the cards already, with like these mats for kids to play on and stuff.
That's
So
awesome.
they're out there for you to get some ideas if you want to do things like that with kids too.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And
Yeah.
I think, bringing all that, you could bring that to a child's level as well,
I
so
brought
they
it to
understand it.
my grandkids when they were very, very young. Okay. I matter of fact, my one grandson, I had said to my daughter, "Can I train him so he trusts his intuition?" She says, "Ma, you could do anything you want." And we used to do all these little guessing games. It was so cute. It was just so cute. He was about 2, maybe 3, and I just came up with all these ways. Like I would get those sticky notes and draw like for his age different shapes.
Right.
And put it on my forehead and hide it from him, and he would guess it, and then he would take one and say, "Okay, Grandma, you guess," but he'd always show it to me.
That's so cute.
You got to turn it around. And there's so many
Yes.
card games and color games and things like that. And then
Mhm.
the other thing that helped him, for those of you out there with kids or grandkids, was I had an herbal garden. And he still, to this day, he's 13 now, he can take any scent. You talked about oils and things before, how
Yes.
important he can take any scent from the herbs and he knows what they are. So
That's
I trained
amazing.
at a very young age to communicate even with the plants, which is another type of empath, isn't it?
Mhm. Yes, it is. Yeah, the empaths that connect with nature on that level. Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely. Yep, yep.
So Gabe says her daughter teaches her kindergarten students yoga and mindfulness.
I love that.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love
Deborah's like
that.
the thing
Yeah,
she's out there.
yeah.
But yes, so important to teach children these self-soothing techniques. Absolutely. And more so now than ever because we have so much stimulus going on. We have all these EMFs. We don't even know. I don't know how many of you, let me know, with the 5G thing coming. As an empath, I am feeling another heightened level of sensitivity, even on my skin when I go out. And I was trying to figure out, Jen, like, why all of a sudden have I got all this kind of tingling nerve like stuff and even a little sensation of burning? So when people don't understand that they have this heightened sensitivity, they're not going to know. But if we start raising our awareness to all of this, teaching
Mhm.
each other and also helping each other, we're going to know we're not sick. We're just
Right.
tuning in.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. You gotta spread the word. I mean, there's so much out there in the world right now with what's going on that, there are people that are really struggling and they don't know why, even the non-empaths but, we
Yes.
can help, by bringing the meditations and the self-awareness and the coping skills and strategies. And
I
there's
just
just
got
so
an idea.
what's that?
Let's create an online summit with you, me, and some of these gals down here that we all have these gifts and teach some of these people, these parents out there, how to work with their kids. What do you think,
Yeah,
Lynn?
that would be great. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yes. Yep.
Yep. So see, Deborah's got the hives going on. Yep.
Yeah.
Children are still so close to God. They love to connect. Yes, you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. Gabe
Yes.
says, I feel that tingling also. So see, people don't even realize sometimes what is happening. And then
Yeah.
they might go run to a doctor or something or try to figure out what to do to get rid of certain symptoms. It's like earlier, Tina says, I'm in. She wants to do a summit. Okay, we'll talk. We'll get a meeting going with you guys. They don't realize, like we talked earlier, sometimes you get a headache and you don't know why you have a headache. And Jen,
Mhm.
me of when I first got involved in this. I was actually working for a neurologist. I was in my late 20s and I had been studying some of this way back when. And he wanted me to go in and work on one of his patients. I was actually his business manager and I was just starting to learn all this hands-on healing and all. He goes, come on in. I want you to help this lady get rid of her headache. And I'm thinking, oh, what? He says, well, you took some training. I'll help her, right? So I did, and she got rid of her headache. But the minute I walked out the door, I had this massive migraine. And I was like,
Mhm.
God, I took it on. How do I get rid of it?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta cut your cords and you gotta cleanse yourself, and yeah, that's, that is a very common thing, like with Reiki, especially being an empath, taking on people's symptoms, symptoms that you don't know they have. You could say, man, I'm really, my knee is really hurting, and turns out that they've had an issue, or, I have terrible stomach pains. Well, they have a stomach issue, and that's, the importance of, cutting cords or cleansing yourself after any kind of work with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but I'm going to throw it out at you because we are going through some very challenging times now with people being on the quarantine because of COVID and
Right.
a lot of people picking up, and we talked about it earlier, picking up energies they don't understand, including exhaustion. Okay.
Yeah.
What tips can you give people out there that can help them during these trying times?
Well, I think, you know, keeping the faith, don't let yourself get into that negative mindset. There's, when you're feeling that overwhelmed, go out and look at the pretty. I take a ride every day and just look at the beautiful flowers, the trees, things turning green. Like they say, get out of your head, get out of your head. If you have to meditate it out, burn it out with the sage, cleanse yourself, positive self-talk, affirmations. I write affirmations and put them on my fridge or on my mirror in the bathroom. You got to stay out of your own head and stay away from the news that's going to bombard you with
Oh
all the
God,
bad
yes,
stuff that's going on. So
absolutely.
self-care, just your self-care, take care of yourself, get the sleep, eat right, communicate with friends, reach out, read a book, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of things we can do. So, Jen, if people have any questions or they want to reach out to you maybe for some future classes, what's your email? And I'll put it
Uh,
up here.
sure. It's cairojen@gmail.com.
Okay. So I'm going to put it up here and just let me know that I spelled this correctly.
Yep. That's great.
So if anybody has a question for Jen or you're interested in some of her tips or future classes, drop her an email and let her know that you saw her on this video interview, her author interview, by the way, for her book that is going to be releasing in May. Jean says, great ideas. Absolutely. She's
Thank
got
you,
lots
Jean.
of great ideas. So I'm helping create best-selling authors, and a lot of these people that have been on tonight have been a best-selling author with powerful potential and purpose, and this gal is going to be one of the next ones. So, Jen, before we say goodnight to people or goodbye to people tonight, what other tips or inspiration would you like to leave for the people watching today?
Um, don't hold back. Trust yourself. I held back for so long on doing things that I thought I wanted to do but wasn't sure. You just got to take that step and trust yourself and go with your gut. Always trust your gut.
I
So,
absolutely agree.
this is something I'm doing, um, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it well. So I'm so glad that I, talked with you and started this journey because I'm very excited, and it's something I would have not done, but I listened, I trusted, and I went for it.
Yep, and that's what we have to do in life. You know, I was listening to a mentor of mine today who's actually doing the forward for this book, by the way, and his name is David Meltzer. And in his class that I was in today, one of the things he was talking about was getting out of your comfort zone and doing something different. If you want something different in your life, he said, you got to do something different. He said, and you need to ask for help. And that's what you guys did when you came to us is you asked for help, how to write, how to publish a book. And so David kept teaching me this stuff for the last few months that I've been kind of, following him, talking to him, training him. And because of asking, we've got him writing a beautiful forward for the book on faith, on gratitude, and all these things that, we talk about in these stories coming up on Path of Awakening. So if you're listening and you're doubting something in your life, listen to Jen. Trust yourself. Because like David Meltzer said too today, he said, so you tried things 10 times and you failed 9 because you didn't ask for help and you didn't really trust yourself. So
Yeah.
trust yourself, everybody out there. Stanley says, good job. We got a lot of
Thanks,
people
Stanley. Thank
tonight. Hi, Tempest. Thanks for joining us. So, does anybody have any questions for Jen tonight? Just post them down below because we're going to just wrap this up real quick. But trusting yourself isn't always easy. And that's why you got to surround yourself with people that support you or a person, right? At least one
Mhm.
person.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, you need your tribe.
You
Yep.
do need your tribe, and we are wonderful. We're finding our tribe. So again, if anybody wants to reach out to Jen, there's her email. Give her some love, some hearts, some kudos, congratulations, because the
Thank you, everybody.
work done to do this wasn't the easiest, was it?
No, it was a challenge. No, I pushed myself. Yeah, it was emotional and yeah, it was a challenge, but I'm so glad. And
I'm
it
glad
makes
you
me
did it.
feel so good to read my manuscript. Yes.
And Jen, I have to tell you, when we started getting into some of the creative writing, when you were sharing, because they're not going to tell them yet, they got to go read it.
Right. I got to read it. Yeah.
Sharing about some of the things that you were doing as a kid and where you went in your imagination. I had so much fun with you kind of creating that, like really getting you to like bring
Mhm.
me a movie of your life. It was so fun.
Yes. No, that was fun. No, we had a good time. We had a good time. Yes. Thank you, Gloria.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm excited to see where your path goes, where your career goes with this, and how many people out there, especially these kids, that you're
Mhm.
able to help. So, Jen, thank you so much for being part of
Thank
Path.
you. Thanks for having me. And thank you, everybody.
And for anybody that's interested in becoming an author, you could always reach me at powerfulpotentialandpurpose.com. So wherever you are in this world, bless you all. Please stay healthy and be safe. And make sure that when the book comes out, write that name down and go purchase a copy. We will be on Amazon, hopefully the first weekend in May, but a little bit flexible because of the things happening with COVID right now and some delays, but we are really going for that May 2nd weekend. And we would love to have your reviews on Amazon so that all 7 of these authors become best-selling authors and they can go out into the world and help more people in the way that they bring it from their heart to you. Thanks, everybody. And we
Thank
got some
you.
coming in, and congratulations and kisses for you. Okay.
Thank you.
And we will
Thanks.
have more author interviews coming up real soon because we have 7 amazing stories that are going to be part of this book. So, Jen, thanks again. Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay. And have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thank you for coming on and commenting. And we got more hearts coming in for you. And it was really fun to share this time with you, Jen.
It was fun. Thank you. Have a good
Okay.
night. Be safe.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye-bye.